Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all having a good day. So come back to work again on the Mother Goose altered book journal. So we've been working on this together and this is part 4. So far we've done this, the inside front cover. Then we've done this double page spread here. And we did this double page spread last week, and then we did this one just a couple of days ago. So come back today to do another couple of pages, maybe more if we get time. So we'll kind of just play it by ear and kind of see how we get on really. So I've obviously painted a couple more pages in the book, so we've got a few more pink pages to choose from. So it doesn't really matter which one we go for. Perhaps we'll go for this one here. And again, I've just roughly painted it. If you've actually been following along with this series, you'll kind of be familiar with this. If this is the first time of tuning in, you'll just be horrified and thinking what a mess she's making of the pages. So what I'm going to start with doing is kind of picking a few little bits and bobs to place on the page. So obviously I've got various kind of embellishments and things that I've kind of partially made already, things to just choose from, that I've kind of semi-made, and then we'll kind of go from there. So I've got those. I have got one on a green background here. Let's have a look and see kind of how the pages are coming along, so we don't have kind of a big cluster of yellow, items and then no more yellow for a while. So there we've got kind of a green. That's a green there. Obviously there are a couple of pages in between. So, and obviously we've got, a few more yellow items to use. So I might just go for some yellow items. It really doesn't kind of matter which items we use. I've got this tiny little flip. So I thought that would look quite sweet on the page. Obviously this hasn't been decorated with any of the Mother Goose images or anything. And actually, I did do this one, which when I originally started making this ephemera, or these embellishment pieces, I obviously hadn't decided how to use these pieces. And so I had done this with a larger book in mind, kind of more like the, the junk journals with the soft covers. So obviously this is quite large and a bit too large, obviously, to go this way round on the page, which was how I'd obviously intended it to go. However, the image itself is quite wide, so if I chopped it down we would actually kind of lose some of it, and I quite wanted it as a flip. So I don't generally kind of normally have things sideways on, but I think we could tie it in and make it look, quite pretty still. So, perhaps we'll go with this one. And then what I would do is, obviously I've just folded the cardstock, it's all been coffee dyed, and I would just glue it here onto the next page like that. And then obviously when I came to work on that page I would obviously cover that up. So what I might do is make this a little bit smaller so as we don't have such a large surface to actually cover up when it comes to doing the back of it. And just kind of hook it over there, just to kind of get an idea. And then on the facing page we could either go for this one, or we could have this kind of smaller piece. I quite like that. I've also got this kind of little folding kind of booklet, which again, this is different papers, but I thought it matched quite well. I've also got this small kind of little pocket, which actually kind of is the same paper as this one. And actually that looks quite nice on the front of that booklet. So I might come back to that because I actually think that would look quite nice. I was going to have this here, but actually now I've kind of placed that there, maybe we'll have that one. I'll put this to one side while we kind of decide. I mean, obviously we're just working along with this together, and you know, hopefully you've kind of grabbed your stash as well and you're kind of doing something at the same time, and we really are kind of, you know, embarking on this together. So we're just kind of playing around really and just seeing what looks nice. So obviously this is quite smallish on the page, so I have got this piece of scrapbook paper which has just been coffee dyed. It does actually kind of match with these range of papers, if I recall. So we could have that kind of underneath it, just so that there is a bit more kind of interest, if you like. So maybe like that. We could maybe have a doily kind of maybe poking out, something like that. I have also again, I left all the things on the craft board this week, or you know, for the last couple of days, but again I've thrown more things onto the pile. So I came across these doilies, which again I've used these a couple of times, but obviously then I've just got these remaining ones, which are in this very pale, very pretty kind of yellow colour. So I just popped them on the pile because I thought actually they may go quite nicely in this journal. So you could use one of them there, but actually I don't like it there. But I do quite like it with that kind of page there. So I'm just playing around at the moment, placing things where I think maybe I would like things. Let's have a look. Now, if you recall, we had used a few of these Kaisercraft little die cut shapes. So we could kind of incorporate some of these on the page, which straight away look really nice. And also we've been using obviously these flowers that I've just fussy cut out of some scrapbook paper. So we could kind of pop these on, you know, like that maybe. I quite like that already. I also brought along another thing that I've chucked on the pile this week, some Tim Holtz rosettes that I have kind of ready, you know, made and assembled, just because I thought again maybe they would be quite good colour wise to go with the theme of the journal. So if I just kind of ink them up a little bit. Obviously I have made some of these with coffee dyed paper, but actually these are made with non-coffee dyed paper. So I would just go around the edges just to ink them up a little bit, kind of make them look a bit more vintage. So, I mean, they are really nice, aren't they? Don't want to overdo it with those. Let's have a look what else I have brought along with me. I could do with probably some more of the kind of fussy cut flowers here on this page, just to link the two pages together. So just get some out. Again, I just want quite small sections because obviously, you know, there's not a great deal of room now on this page. And actually what I could do is kind of have a piece there on that booklet. Actually, there is a corner one, which I guess I could have that here actually. And I could have something like that, I'm kind of thinking. What do you guys think? Do you think that looks quite nice? Now, hopefully I've got my corner rounder somewhere reasonably accessible. I've got a little bag beside me full of items, and hopefully it will be reasonably accessible and won't be having me here for kind of half an hour digging around for it. Where is it? And I've also brought along my stapler for you know, speed and to be able to just do things quite quickly. So, right, got my corner rounder, got my stapler. Oh, I'm knocking things all over the show here. Right, quite like all this. Now, what I should have done was obviously ink the page first because there's quite a bit going on. I don't want to forget how I've laid it out. So what I'm going to do is just fold this up like that. And then I'm just going to place these things very gently to the side, but kind of in their, or actually up there at the top, in their kind of formation of how they are, while I just literally ink up the page slightly. So I'll just take my ink pad. Now again, if you've kind of been watching along with this, because obviously most of this page is going to actually be covered up, I don't really need to kind of ink all of it. So it's mainly kind of the edge pieces that need to be inked up. So that will probably do, to be honest, like that. Now, to ink or not to ink? Yeah, definitely to ink. Now, do I round the corners? So just ink across the top bit there. I've been really excited to do this. I've been at work this morning and I was really hoping that I was going to get time to do this. So just neglecting jobs that I actually should be getting on with and just come along to do it. Because I couldn't wait really to crack on with this journal. So I'm going to take the doily piece now. And I'm just going to cut it in half. Just trying to be frugal and make my doilies go further. Because I don't obviously need the whole thing. So, and here on this, I've actually already rounded the corner here. And I only rounded one corner because I thought that looked quite nice. Obviously at the time when I'd kind of cut this piece. Do we still like that, or do we think all four corners should be rounded? Maybe it looks a little bit like I've just forgotten to do them. What do you think? So let's just round all the corners off. Oops. I mean, I didn't mind it how it was, but obviously, you know, some people would maybe find that a bit strange. So I'm going to just glue the doily down first. Oops. I did bring along my glue that I used the other day. I haven't used it since and I've kept the lid on, so hopefully, yeah, yay. It's just squeezing straight out, which is great. I'll just glue that on. And also I've got my iPad again raised up on a couple of books, so I'm hoping that the that I'm in frame really nicely for you guys. So I can't see overly well, which was how it was the other day. You know, unfortunately it's quite high now for me to actually see, but hopefully I'm in a good kind of position. So like that. So I'm going to just pop that down. Now I could stick it just on three sides so that's a pocket here. Yeah, why not? I mean, the only thing is this has actually got very delicate when it was being coffee dyed. So we'll have to remember that and be very precious when, you know, if we use the pocket. There you go. I'll just press that down with my card. Like that. Okay, now, do we want to round the corners on this piece, do you think? Let's have a look. Again, I don't dislike it with the square corners. And are we likely to put anything on the edges, any sort of lace or trim? So again, I have this very thin lace, so I could pop some of that on there, just to kind of edge it off. Let's just have a look. And I've got obviously this teapot, which I'm going to pop here because it brings in the green from the other side of the page. So I'll just ink that up. I mean, because it's quite dark, it's actually not showing up particularly much on there. But I can pop that there. And then it's whether to use this big kind of corner piece of flowers or the smaller kind of sprig. So let's have a look. Now, are we going to have any more lace? Again, I've got this lovely crocheted lace that Laura gifted me. So I'm just going to cut a little bit again. Kind of just hold around and see what we think. Actually, maybe I will cut a small bit and use the cream lace on there. Maybe that looks quite nice. And what we could do, maybe have a bit of lace here. Yeah, I think I want to put some sort of lace on here, so I'm not going to actually bother rounding the corners. I'm just going to now glue it on over the page. Oh, it's got a bit of pink paint on there. I'm just going to glue it over the page like that. And I quite liked it off to the side rather than in the middle. I'll just check I've got the right page. I'm not kind of gluing it over too. Yeah, I quite liked it off to the side rather than kind of in the centre. I thought that made it quite nice. Now, what I'll do, I'll just kind of press that down like that, and then what I might do is just paper clip that to hold it in place. I'll just use 2 paper clips like that. So that's that. Now, let's have a look. So we've got the teapot and the flowers, and then if we were to use smaller flowers, which actually I quite like those, and we're going to cut a small bit of lace there. So let me just cut a smaller piece of lace trim. Like that. Okay. So I'm just going to stick that here, just pop it on, just with a bit of glue. I love working with all these beautiful colours, I must say. I think they're really pretty. I quite like working with the kind of children's images, because I do think, you know, that's a really nice way to be able to be more adventurous with your colour schemes. I'm just going to move the paperclip along so that it's kind of held properly everywhere. Right. Now, I mean, I could stick some ephemera or something as well. Maybe. That's quite nice. That's quite nice. Now, also I have been shamed into kind of using some buttons, because obviously we did those button embellishments the other day, and you know, as I think it was Laura said, well, you know, I don't know how much you use buttons, and she's absolutely right, I don't necessarily, but I do always feel compelled to buy them. And obviously I had that beautiful you know, bag of vintage buttons gifted to me by my friend at work, so I said literally on that tutorial that I definitely did not need to buy any more buttons, you know, for a really long time. And then the very next day I went out, and I now have this huge bag of buttons also to add to my collection. Again, these were all vintage, and I have washed them all, but actually there were even some more compared to those, which I haven't washed yet. But such a beautiful variety, and I just could not pass them by. So I brought them along and thought I may just use a couple in this journal just to be conscientious and actually use some. So I definitely don't need to buy any more buttons, and I know I did say that just literally the other day, and here I was buying more again. But seriously, I don't need to buy any more. I mean, sometimes, I don't know about you, but you just have to question, you know, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel compelled to buy these things? Now, also, if I didn't want to use those, I have got another one of those button embellishments that we did make on Saturday, which again, I'm just going to cut this fabric slightly smaller, like that. So this, we've already used one of these somewhere else on another page, if I recall, but I could pop that somewhere. Again, looks pretty cute everywhere I hold it. I'll put that to one side for a moment, and I'll put these to one side for a moment. And also in the pack there was this little heart, and then literally just as I was coming into the room, I just spotted this in my kind of stash. I thought, oh, that would go really well, and obviously I didn't really want it saying I love you, so literally what I thought we could do is obviously ink this one up, like that, and then I just thought ink up the fabric so it's a bit more distressed, a bit more in keeping with the book. And then I just thought I'd probably staple that onto this and then kind of curl it up, you know, like a butterfly, but obviously it's a heart. And I thought that would look really just cute placed around somewhere on the journal. So I might just quickly staple that now so it's kind of done and held together. I mean, that's just so sweet, isn't it? So even if I don't use it on this page, providing I don't forget or lose it in amongst this big pile I have here, then hopefully I will use that somewhere because it's really sweet. I'm going to take those paper clips off now. Just make sure it just lifts up. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to ink this little ticket up. And this is just some of those Crafty Individual stamps. Image. Put that there. Or obviously, again, I'm back to this debate. Do we have the large flowers? Sometimes it's just too many decisions. I think probably like that, but I feel like I'm missing something on the bottom of the page. Maybe a strip of lace. Or we could maybe have a bow if I've got any that I've actually bought in here with me. I only seem to have a really bright blue bow here, which obviously that's not going to cut the mustard. So let me have a look in my bag and see whether I've got any bows in there. Because I always think bows just look very, very sweet on anything and everything. So, no, I can't find them. Oh dear. well, I can't find a little bow, but I mean, I could always stick one on, you know, later. I could bring one next time if I remember, and we could do that together. Actually, another thing I threw on the pile this week were these butterflies, and this is just some trim that I've got that's really pretty. I've used this in a few journals now. So we could, and how I quite liked using this is actually just leaving some of that sheer kind of outer fabric on. It looks quite pretty like that. I'll just cut these kind of bits off. Like that. So we could have a little butterfly somewhere. That's quite nice. Right, what I might do is come back to that page. So, you know, on this little arrangement down here. So might get started sticking some things down on here. So I'm just going to, again, move them to one side, but kind of as they were arranged, so I don't forget. And I'll just ink up the edges again. And again, obviously most of this page is going to be covered up, so I don't need to ink the middle. So I'm just going to ink very lightly around the edges. I just noticed that I've now knocked the lace off of the other page. Let me just pop that back before I forget. Right. So then kind of roughly place these things back. So now that was actually down as a kind of possible for there, but who knows whether we'll go for that or not. So obviously, because this is a folding kind of booklet, we don't want to kind of stick this cup there because it won't open. So the cup would have to kind of be, you know, to the side underneath it really. So I think what I might do is start by sticking down this doily, but I'm actually going to leave this intact rather than cut it because obviously it's kind of off to the corner. And you know, it would be kind of just a case of cutting a quarter of it out really. So I'll just move that again. Just stick this down. Like that. Okay. Now obviously I could also, you know, I could even add some more flowers somewhere, so, you know, in fact I could add them here. Oh no, don't like that. Didn't like that at all. Right, so here I'm going to round the corners of this little booklet, like that. And again, obviously, you know, whoever gets this journal could always stick some more pages in here, you know, to make it more of a kind of booklet. So we've got that like that, and then I'm going to just ink around the edges of this. So it's nice and vintage looking. Oops. Like that. Just do the inside of this as well. I hope that you're all having as much fun doing this series as I am. I'm really loving it and loving doing this journal. It's absolutely brilliant fun. And I love talking along to you all because it really stops me overthinking, and you know, it's actually making things a bit easier for me to do in some ways. I mean, in some ways it's a bit strange and not so great, but in many ways, you know, if it's just me kind of sat in silence, I can endlessly deliberate over things. Whereas obviously I think I'm a bit more aware and feel slightly more pressured into making a decision, you know, because nobody wants to watch me thinking and thinking. I'm just going to ink these cups up, thinking about things over and over, do they? So yeah, it's quite helpful from that point of view, because obviously, you know, it's speeding me up a little bit, which is always a good thing. Right. Oops, just do that a bit more because it still looked quite white. There we go. Right, so, oh, it's such a shame. I might just see what slightly smaller teacups that I've got, because if it wasn't such a, you know, high piled teacup stack, it wouldn't have to go right under the booklet like that. So I'll just see what else came in the die cuts pack. I mean, they're really sweet, aren't they? So I've got this one, which is kind of a largish teacup, which that's quite nice. So what I'm going to do, I'll just ink that up, because I'll be using it anyway, so it doesn't hurt to just have it inked ready. And then I just hold that there. Could just have that down there. Now at the moment it's looking very plain, I think. You know, because I love things a little bit more decorative than that. But could always kind of, I wonder if there's some loose macaroons in here. I thought I'd seen some somewhere. So I could use those. And actually there's these little kind of rounds or little mats. So I wonder if I should use one of those that I could kind of place the cup on. I could have a couple of macaroons to the side. Not sure I like that. Right, let's ink up the macaroons. Or macarons. Oh, isn't the French kind of, or aren't the French cakes and patisseries and things and their pastries just so exquisite? I mean, they just are, wow. You know, I always fascinated at how long it must take them every morning to make all those things that they have all displayed in their beautiful windows. You know, because I mean, presentation not my thing when it comes to baking and cake making, but my gosh, it would take me forever just to even try and make one cake, and it would obviously not turn out anywhere near like the beautiful ones that you get in the French patisseries. So yeah, always a little bit intrigued how they actually make them so quickly and so beautifully. Right, let's have a look kind of at the double page and kind of see how we can get it to work together. So what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to stick those flowers down so that they're well and truly on there, and I can stop kind of deliberating about them. So we just pop them down like that. Obviously I didn't want them kind of near the edge because it is a folding booklet. I didn't want them interfering with how it's going to fold. And obviously you can have that on there. Really like these tiny ones. They're just really, really, really sweet. So I'll just ink that up a bit, and then I will just pop that on. Like that. Obviously when I made this, it was not my intention to have this stuck on the front of a kind of booklet. It was only literally just now when I kind of looked at it and I thought, wow, that looks really nice like that, actually. Yeah, really like it. And obviously I forgot about my string, so we could have this booklet tying up. You know how I like to have everything tying up, and obviously it would add a little bit of something to the page. So let's have a look and see see how we'll do this. So these are probably too big to be using on this page. So I have this sprig, they're also massive. What else have I bought with me? I'm kind of overrun with things. I've got so much stuff here on the pile. Bought this little flower with me that I just kind of have made this. Thought it might be cute somewhere. Not on this page, I don't think, but you know, I brought it along. I picked up some vintage postage stamps the other day, so I brought those along in case I wanted to use those. Well, you know, bought a couple of them along, sorry, not obviously in their entirety. So I'll just ink this up. Obviously they are used vintage stamps, so we could have a stamp kind of there. Kind of adds just a little splash of colour there. I've brought along these little fabric stamp things that I like making, so I might just ink that up. I have already Mod Podged it, so it's kind of less prone to fraying, and as you can see it had already started fraying when I obviously Mod Podged it, so it's now got this bit hanging off. So I'll just kind of do that like that. So we could have that somewhere. I might cut that bit of frayed edge off. Could have that in a little cluster there. Also brought along obviously this bright pink lace that we've used on another page somewhere. So I could have some of this going maybe down the edge of the page, or maybe across the bottom. Oh, don't you love lace? It just adds something to a page, doesn't it? So do we like it at the bottom or do we like it at the side? Right, so what I might do, so as these items stop moving around, I'm going to stick a couple of them to the page. So I'm going to stick the postage stamp on. Like that. Obviously it does not matter if it's, you know, covered up in the main. It's absolutely fine. So I'm going to put it like that. And if we had the lace kind of going down the side like that. Now, do we think that the little butterfly kind of looks cute there? Or would it be better with a bow? It's very annoying because I swore that I had brought a little bow with me. Let's have a look. Perhaps stick the lace on so that's no longer kind of moving around. Just check whether I've got any clips with me. No, I haven't brought any clips with me. So that's going to be tricky. So I'm going to hot glue that on down the side. Right. I'm only doing this so that it stops moving around and I can then kind of try and gauge where I want the other items. Again, hoping that I am still in frame. So let me check I've got the right side of the lace. Again, it's very hard because, you know, I've got the lamp on here so that the film comes out well. But that makes it very tricky to actually see. So I'll just hot glue a bit down the edge. Like that. So I'll start at this edge. There we go. And I'll just trim that off on the edge like that. Losing all my bits and pieces now from the book. So, right, so that just makes it a little bit easier to be able to work around. Obviously I forgot I had my rosette there, didn't I, as well? So I could have it like that. I also brought along actually, or placed in here, Spring Along, another piece of that book page from the, you know, that building book that I had used before. So I could place that down somewhere. So I'll just move those to one side. I could place that down underneath, kind of as a bit of a mat. And have it more like that. I don't know whether that kind of adds anything or not really. Or I could just have kind of part of it really. So what I'll do is just tear it in half. I'll just tear this a bit neater because it's very ragged at the edge. Kind of so there's a little bit more you know, the colour's a bit more broken up, otherwise it was a lot of pink, I felt. So we could have that, and then we could pop the butterfly on like this. Yeah, I quite like that. So I'm going to put that slightly more off to the side. So what I might do is just tear it slightly smaller. That. And then I'm going to stick that down. Like this. I've been busy trying to sort out some book pages. I did my haul video, I think it was yesterday, and I've put it on. So I've begun dismantling a couple of books. Yeah, see how we get on. But I just began that last night, kind of just as I was kind of, you know, going to bed. So we'll see how that kind of goes. But it's all exciting stuff, isn't it? Right. Do we like it like that? I wish that I could find a bow, because I just feel like a bow might be just the right thing. And I really thought that I had bought some here with me, and I must have not done, which is very frustrating. No, I must have not done. I mean, or I could just pop a little flower there, to be honest. So I've obviously got some little paper flowers that I could use. That's quite sweet. I have actually got this massive flower. I had these in my stash for a long time and then decided to coffee dye them. So I could have actually popped that somewhere. It's quite nice, isn't it? Obviously then the booklet wouldn't lay flat, and well, unless I stuck it down and kind of have it as a pocket, and I could then pop a button in the centre, or even I've got another flower, stick a flower like that. What do you think? Well, what I might do, again, I'm just flicking back page to page, is stick these few things down here. Oops, like that. So I'm going to stick the ticket down first. Like that. And then I'm going to just stick the flowers down. Like that. And I'm just going to pop the teapot here in the corner. I guess I could have it up there actually. Well, no, I'm going to go for it down here because I might just put a couple more flowers up in that corner. I just feel like the corner needs something now. So just get that piece of glue off there. Right, pop that like that. Okay, and then the piece of crocheted lace, just pop here, kind of across the bottom, like that. So I just do a line of glue. Oh gosh, I hope that I'm in frame. Like that. Did also film another tutorial yesterday, so when I get time I will upload that as well. It's just having time to do all these things, isn't it? And there's so many things that, you know, want to do, and then just getting the time to do them, because everything seems to take so long, you know, uploading and things, and keeping up with everything. It's a bit like Instagram. I kind of thought, right, I'm going to get on and start using Instagram, and I tried my hardest for a few weeks, and then it kind of goes out of the window really, because you know, it's hard to keep up with everything. So I ended up, I've not actually used it now for a little while again. Isn't that gorgeous ribbon? Just again, I chucked that on the pile and wondered whether it might be useful. Oh, and also this little button card that I made, I thought that might look nice somewhere on this journal. It's just some little buttons on there. Actually, that could even slot in there. That's quite nice. So, right. Let's have a look. We're back to this page now. I'm just going to pop that butterfly down actually. There we go. Now, do we want this flower up here? I do like it, but I'm not sure I like this booklet kind of up like it is there. Let's have a look. Take it away. Can't help but think it looks a little bit plain now without it. Or perhaps I could pop one of these kind of centres in the middle of the doily. Let's just see what that looks like if I ink that up. Yes, I think I've said before, I'm not somebody who kind of is glued to my mobile phone or anything, and obviously I'm trying to make quite an effort to be more active on my YouTube and you know, be replying quicker and things like that, but obviously then Instagram, that's a whole nother thing. So, you know, hopefully eventually I'll kind of just, I don't know, get in some sort of routine and get in the swing of just doing it nice and quick and efficiently. But at the moment it's kind of taken a back seat really, while I'm trying to focus on kind of YouTube, I suppose. Right, what do we think? That's probably better, isn't it? I prefer that, I think. So I might just put some string around here, because that just to me would finish it off really nicely. And actually I'm just going to glue the macarons and the cup. Now, do we like them behind or in front? It's these kinds of things that kind of, if anybody else who was not a crafter watched one of these videos, I mean, they would be mortified that, you know, I'm even having the debate of where to stick things, the order in which to stick things, because it would seem so trivial, I'm sure. But to us crafters, these things do matter, don't they? And it is very important, the order that things go in. Right. I should put that down like that. So, quite like that. Now, let's tie some string around. Oops. Oh gosh, I've got loads of it here. It's far too long. Oh, come back. Okay, cut that off. Right, I'm going to actually put the ball of string away, because I mustn't now tie up anything else today. Pop that there like that. Now, I'm going to stick this down, because I think that definitely you know, it needed something in that corner. So I'm just going to stick that like this. And then I'm going to stick the string down so it's kind of in place properly. Like that. And I probably should have done that earlier so that it would be dry to be able to stick it onto the page. So while it's drying, I'm just going to place it there so as we kind of know roughly where it's going. While we decide kind of what to pop here in this corner, and also whether to put some flowers over here. Let me just stand up and see what time it is. Oh gosh, it's 50 minutes. I've been doing this for 50 minutes now. Time flies when you're having fun. Right, let's ink up this tiny little sprig of flowers and see how that will look in the corner. Yeah, I prefer that personally, so I think that looks really nice. Now, we could have this one, we could have the Tim Holtz rosette, or we could have this butterfly, or we could even have that little heart that we stapled. Let's turn this over. I won't obviously stick this down just at the moment because it obviously is wet, but just kind of place it there just while we have a look. So I'm going to stick these flowers down because I love those. I'm 100% sure about those. So I'll pop those there. I just want to say thank you, by the way, to everybody for commenting so much recently, and for all your support on my channel, and to obviously new subscribers and, you know, not old ones, but existing subscribers. I appreciate it so much, and yeah, thank you so much for all your support. It's really exciting, and it just makes it all worthwhile, because when you do these videos, you do wonder whether actually, you know, anyone's going to bother watching you. And it's so nice and encouraging to actually have kind of positive comments and, you know, such a nice feeling of support. Actually, I quite like that with that flower. So I'm going to use another staple to staple that flower in. There we go. And then I'm just going to, actually I might hot glue this just for speed, because then it's just stuck on there straight away. Just bend it up a bit so that I've got a bit more definition or dimension, like that. Okay, see how this is getting on. Okay, that feels dryish, so I could probably stick that down. Now again, do I stick this as a pocket, or I could just stick it on two sides and have it as a tuck spot? I know I said I didn't want that with that giant flower, but you know, despite that, I could kind of go with that anyway. So I think that might be a good idea. So I'm just going to glue it down just literally like this. Which actually I've now forgotten to put a piece of paper over that string. So let me just see if I can grab, well, I'll just use a piece of this book page because that's a piece of paper that's closest to me. It's just really so that the string is protected when it's kind of acting as a pocket or a tuck spot, so that nothing's kind of picking the string up and causing it to. And you know what I've just realised? I've stuck glue across the top, and I said I was going to use that as just a tuck spot, didn't I, on two sides. So I'm going to scrape that glue off. It's because I'm now at 50 minutes that I'm now kind of needing a drink and a breather, I think. So we're nearly done. Right. Check it's the right way up before I scrape the glue off. So I'm just going to use the rest of the book page and just literally wipe that glue off again. Could have just gone with it and stuck it down, having it as that pocket, but actually I quite liked it as just the tuck spot. So just make sure that's gone properly. I just make sure that that glue is now on there like that. Okay, right. Pop that down there like that. And then I'm going to untie it for the moment so that I can make sure it's properly stuck down on the page, basically. So I'll just take my card, just literally stick it down at the edges. Like that. And then actually what you could do, you know, either stick in some other book pages or just cut some coffee dyed paper. I haven't got any to hand, and kind of place it, you know, stick it like that. That would be also quite nice. So, right, hopefully that's now stuck. Hopefully not along the top where I had originally put that glue by mistake. Right, tie that up. Like that. Actually, that one's just a little bit too long, so I'll just trim that a bit. I never did use any buttons, did I, after saying I was going to start using some? And I don't think really we can now put anything else on there, because I feel like there's enough stuff going on the page now. Right, no more buttons or anything else on there, so they're back in the packet. So that's that page now. So we're gradually getting through the journal. We've got obviously a few more pages left to do. We've got that page, that double page spread there, and then we've got a double page spread here, double page spread here, and a single here. And then these are just those kind of inside blank pages of the book, which I actually thought I might just leave those. Actually, they don't look like they're overly stuck in very well, but yeah, so I might just leave those plain for journaling, and so we just have a single page here. Yeah, go with that, I think. So we've got a fair few pages done already, and obviously, you know, a few pages left to do. And then we'll obviously work on putting some tags or bits and pieces inside the pockets and the tuck spots that we've left, and then work on the cover. So I don't know whether I'll definitely leave that button booklet in there, because actually it's quite turquoise, so I'm not sure about that. Maybe it would be better on this page. Maybe. Or maybe I'll just ink up the edges quickly. Ah, that might be better. That looks a bit better colour-wise. There we go. That's better. So I'll just pop that in there. That's quite nice because it's got the buttons on the edge. So yeah, then we'll obviously go through and we'll put some, you know, bits and pieces into the pockets and do the cover. So hope that you've had fun today and it's not been too tedious for you. Thanks very much for sticking with me. And yeah, catch you next time. So thanks very much. Have a great day. Bye.